Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 21st episode of Visioncon Spotlight, your in-depth look at the nerds you love. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the people of the hour. They're the internet's favorite nerdy couple, coming all the way from youtube.com/doyounerd. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Tom and Lacey from Do You Nerd. Tom, Lacey, how are we doing today?
What's up,
nerdlings?
We are doing great. It is 2021, and that is already a fantastic start to anything going on right now.
It can only go up from here, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah, all my fingers are crossed, but I've got the greatest faith that, yeah, it's going to be a great year. Fantastic year.
Going to be a good year because the decade is finally old enough to drink.
Hell yeah. I like the way you think, Lacey. And on that note, I will say before we get too much into this, the whole nerdlings thing, that's what you refer to your followers and fans as. Totally jealous of that. Wish I would have came up with that.
I think that came on a whim, actually, too. We wanted a term one day and just kind of, we're throwing a few words out in the air, and that one stuck. But it works pretty well.
I mean, that's when you know you guys are made for this life, when you guys can come up with something that genius just on the spot. But we'll get to all that here in a minute. But what I wanted to start us off with is, yes, I said you guys are one of the internet's most famous and, well-loved nerd couples. But what I want to know is, how'd you guys meet?
Well, she loves this story.
And it is a true story.
Go on.
We actually worked at the hospital together.
Aww.
And we worked in surgery. And me and a few of my buddies, we had our own little YouTube channel going way back in the day.
Completely different channel than this one.
Yes, and I saw her from afar, and I told her, I want you to scream for me.
He did. He used the line from X-Men.
I want you to be my scream queen.
Oh,
because
got it.
we used to do a lot of, kind of horror-based knockoffs, parodies, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that must have sealed the deal, because
it did. It was very curious. I was like, so what do you do that you need screaming for?
I was about to say, my mind definitely went in a different direction with that.
No, it's definitely quoting the first X-Men movie, good or bad, whatever you think of the movie, at least.
I mean, that's adorable, to be fair.
And hey, that line, I mean, that's only going to work like 1% of the time. So
the rest of the time you get slapped with some kind of,
Well, I mean, 1% of the time it works every time. But, so one thing leads to another. And obviously, you guys are together and as cute as can be. But then something happens sometime down the line where you guys build this massively popular and successful YouTube channel, fittingly named, as I mentioned earlier, Do You Nerd? So I wanted to know, where did the inspiration come from, and what has kind of built it into what it is today?
Well, Do You Nerd literally came from sitting around one day and looking at everything that we had, and we thought, there's no way if we ever have to do any kind of insurance that they're going to believe that we have what we say we have. So we literally jokingly said, let's do a YouTube channel, because it'll work for our insurance if we have to claim anything, because we can prove that we had it because there's video evidence of it. So it was literally based on a insurance thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how most YouTube channels start, right? Pretty much.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yep. So nothing too glamorous or exciting. We were jokingly saying, well, let's do it for insurance purposes, and kind of blew up from there.
It very quickly evolved, because as soon as we started to put stuff out there, you really start to meet up with a lot of those like-minded people who, they love video games, they love toys and comics, tabletop games, all the stuff that you do. And the more they start to interact with you, the more you want to share with them. It's like, oh, hey, I saw that you picked this up at a recent convention. Check out what we found at a flea market.
Yeah.
And it just snowballs so fast.
Yeah, and we fell in love with the community too. It's just everybody's so nice and friendly, and it's nice to be around people who have the same likes and interests that you do.
Definitely.
So you finally have a place where you feel included and you don't feel weird for what you like.
Well, and I think definitely one of your guys' biggest draws is in YouTube. If you want to be, a very successful YouTuber, oftentimes you're focused on being entertaining and giving people a reason to want to watch you. But with that, it is very easy to become disingenuine. And once people realize you're very disingenuine, that's when they usually kind of, you know, drop off. You guys, however, your chemistry, I mean, obviously your chemistry is phenomenal because, you know, obviously, but you guys are also very two genuine people. We're very passionate about what you guys are doing, passionate about these nerdy topics and, you know, discussions and whatnot. And so I think that in and of itself is what really brings you guys and separates you guys apart from other YouTubers, at least in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It definitely helps to have someone just as passionate about all the things that you love, you know, as yourself, because a lot of times, you know, that creates a lot of barriers, not always in a bad way, but kind of, oh, well, you want to play video games? Okay, I'm going to be in the other room because I'm not watching that junk.
Well, the other thing is we discovered that just like in life, we're better together. And when we very first started the channel, we tried doing separate, like his video game stuff was just him. My toy stuff and movie stuff was just me. And it was, you know, it was stiff and we were kind of uncomfortable and it just didn't feel right. So then we started filming to get everything together. And I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, we're better together, you know? And so it just, we were able to bounce off of each other like we do in real life. And I mean, I know a lot of people say this, but what you see of us on screen, that is us in person. That's, I mean, that is us.
We are that awkward and dorky in real life.
Yeah. And I mean, even though that Tom inserts little clips of things we reference, that is what we do in real life. We just don't have a nice computer screen to put in those, you know, quotes and stuff. So, I mean, even the quotes we do in real life.
Well, and a lot of your guys' work is also very diverse. And, you know, you guys don't just do too much of one thing so it doesn't get stale. You guys do convention kind of panoramics and coverage. You guys do my personal favorite, which are closer uppers, which we'll get to in a sec. And also unboxings for like subscription boxes and, you know, popular video games and collectors boxes. Just everything under the sun. And for those of you guys watching later at home, I've got all these links down there in the description box below. But kind of where did some of the ideas come from? Let's say the closer uppers, some of the convention coverages, and, you know, you guys' more popular kind of series.
Well, the closer uppers was just the fact that a lot of times when people will show you stuff in their videos, it's very brief. It's kind of a, hey, you know, I picked up this thing, pretty cool. And that's all that you see of it. And especially when it comes to toys, tabletop games as well.
Yeah.
You really get a lot more out of it by seeing a lot of the detail. We always laugh that we open all of our toys.
Or monsters like that.
Yeah. But there are so many figures, statues, even Funko Pops that you wouldn't think have as much detail as some of the other figures. Oftentimes they do, but you don't notice that unless they're out of the box and you're taking that closer upper look at all of them.
And the funny thing is my mind is a jumbled mess. And the word closer upper was I was talking and I stumbled over my words and I just happened to say, let's take a closer upper look. And I looked at him and I was like, closer upper, that's not even a word. And he goes, it is now.
Yeah,
it works.
And it stuck and everybody online was like, oh my God, that's so funny. And I was like, that was literally a flub.
But it worked out in the end.
Mail and mail actually came out the same way. I just flumbled and said mail and mail. What is mail and mail? And
it's all about rolling with it, though.
Basically.
That's it. I mean, improv. It's all improv.
Now, the convention coverage and events like the Renaissance festivals, things like that, that's a huge passion of ours because it really gives us a chance to kind of throw some exposure out there to events and things that are happening locally that maybe not a lot of people know about. It's very easy to think about the Comic-Cons and, you know, larger gaming conventions like Midwest Gaming Classic, PRG. And the problem is people get so hung up on those that sometimes they don't realize what they're missing in their hometown or in their, you know, local area. And that's what's so great about going to these, because not only are you meeting up with all the people that are into the same things that you are, all the same fandoms, you know, it's like, these are your people. These are your friends that you just haven't met yet. But it's so close to home. You know, you don't have to make that long trip to go somewhere and have this great time.
Well, I think the convention coverages and the Ren fairs and everything, those are my favorite things that we do, which is why 2020 has been so devastating for me, because we didn't get any of that. And there's been a lot of times, like especially Library Con that we have here local, we've had a few people make comments that looks so awesome. I wish we would do that. And we've actually had some people say, I've gone to my local library and now we're going to have a Library Con. Like it inspired them to get it started in their own town. So, that's why we do what we do, is to show people there's a lot of stuff out there. You just have to look for it, and with the coverage, keep the ear out. The coverage that we do is because we weren't seeing that when other people would do convention coverages. They would go and you would see their face the whole time. And they're like, oh, this is really cool. Look at this, look at this. And it's like, all I can see is your face. And we wouldn't get to see the floor. They would show you what they picked up, or they would show like one booth or two. So that was something that we wanted to do, was literally show the floor as much as possible, so you knew what to expect, to know if you want to spend money to go to this show or this convention or something.
The chance to talk to vendors too, and let them
showcase them too,
talk about what they do. We love doing that, because all the handcrafted stuff that people do,
it's amazing.
I mean, it's so clever, it's so unique. And then even things like the cosplay contest, we loved checking those out.
Yeah.
We learned our first year, because we were just kind of, it's like, oh, hey, that's a cool one. Snap a picture.
Or video this a little bit, or video that.
We learned the best thing to do is to just let the camera roll the whole time, because nobody wants to miss out on any part of it. And the people that come to these events and conventions dressed up, they are so great. I have never once ran into a single person who won't pose for a picture for you if you ask. I mean, everyone's so nice. And the fact that they're getting up there on stage and showing off everything that they've done to make this costume, I mean, there's so much respect in that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys have some fun with it sometimes, though. I know you said you like kind of let the camera roll for the cosplay contest, but I did notice one thing when you guys did the most recent Visioncon cosplay contest, the 2019 one, that was hosted by yours truly. There was a moment where I almost stepped off the stage and fell to my death. And I couldn't help but noticing when I was watching that video that you guys took that moment to zoom in on my foot.
It was to show the dangers that come with hosting events like this. It's not as easy as people think. It's very dangerous territory up there.
Oh yeah, I'm putting my life on the line every day. So, but we joke a lot, but there's a lot of people who watch this show who obviously are here for the entertaining value and the wonderful guests that we have, two of which are sitting right before me. But a lot of people who also watch the show are interested in the fields that we have these guests are in, whether it be directing, music, YouTubers, etc. So for the folks watching at home, is there any advice that you would give aspiring YouTubers, maybe advice that you wish you had when you guys first started out? Anything at all?
I'm almost remiss to admit that Shia LaBeouf said it best with Just to Do It. For real though.
Did Nike say that?
The timeline's unclear.
We're not with the passion though. But in all honesty, the best thing for anyone to do is to just start it. A lot of people will get hung up on, I need the right camera, I need these lights, I need this program for editing. You don't have to worry about that. Just jump right in, get started with it. So many people, ourselves included, but even in the community that we're part of, still use their cell phones as video cameras. Cell phones have come a long way. The camera quality is really up there in most cases. Getting some fairly inexpensive lights, that does a huge world of difference. And that can be something that you do later on. Our first few videos, I mean, they're not the greatest, but we would always try to make sure that it was a nice sunny day out. All the windows were open until we got lights. A lot of it is just getting over that mindset that you have to have anything to really get started. You don't. If you have the camera, just go for it. That's usually the hardest step to take, is to just start it off.
Yeah. I always tell people, if you want to do YouTube, do it for fun. Don't get into YouTube thinking you're going to make a ton of money. because I mean that it's kind of like the lottery thing. You know, you're going to just do it for fun. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the subscribers or the view count. Just get on there and have fun. And, you know, it'll happen in time. You have to be patient. It's a waiting game. But yeah, definitely. Because I've had a lot of little kids come up to me and go, I want to get into YouTube and make millions. And it's like, that's a very small percentage of it. Because if you'd started YouTube a long time ago, about 10 years ago, when not a lot of people were doing it, that's different. Yeah. Now, lots of people do YouTube. So there's a lot of content out there. So just do it for fun, and then you'll have fun.
On that note, as soon as you stop having fun with what you're doing, people will generally notice that. And that's when you might see things kind of taper off. Because if you don't have that passion there, people do feel that.
Yeah, I gotta stay genuine. Alrighty, guys. Well, before we wrap things up, you know, obviously a lot of people that are watching this right now obviously are already big fans of you. But for the new fans, where can they find you guys, you know, outside of obviously youtube.com/doyounerd?
Well, we've got the main social medias, I think, covered. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Usually we're pretty quick about responding on all of those. We're not the best at keeping up as far as, you know, posting new pictures and everything. Sometimes we just forget, mostly.
But we do always post when a video comes out. We're good about that. But we're also part of a group. Actually, he's got the shirt on, the Retro Refresh. It's a group of YouTubers that, you know, we all kind of have the same retro mindset. So we're on, was it retrorefresh.online, I guess is what it's called. But that's basically where you can find us other than YouTube.
Yeah, it's a good little community as far as some more retro gaming content creators. They also branch out a little bit on their channels as well. A lot of nostalgic stuff. If you like a lot of 80s and 90s things, you're going to find something there that you like. And the best part is you've got a few channels that are here in the US. You've got some channels that are in the UK. So it's
some
a
you can
great
understand,
mix
some
of
you
personalities. But they have a Discord through this as well. So if you want to chat with any of the channels, it doesn't have to just be us, but it could be any of them. But Discord is a lot of fun over there as well.
Yeah, I don't think do we have a Do You Nerd Discord? I don't think so.
No, we just go through the Retro
Refresh. Just go through the Retro Refresh. So yeah, so just Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for us anyway, if you would want to just talk to us.
And guys, all of those links, I got them right down there in the YouTube description down below. So go make sure and check them out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 21 of Visioncon Spotlight. Now, before we end things off, any final thoughts or sage-like wisdom to leave us on?
Well, you know, as far as the whole self-promotion thing goes, I mean, that's great. But the most important thing is one of our friends, JLove81, likes to say, promote positivity. And guys, going into a new year, I think that's the best advice anyone can give right now. Do good and be good.
Yeah, just smile at somebody. It might make the difference.
And if you ask somebody to scream for you, make sure it's your future wife.
Exactly.
Got it.
It works. Sometimes.
It works.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 21 of Visioncon Spotlight. I, of course, am your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my very special guests, Tom and Lacey from Do You Nerd. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description box below. And always remember, guys, that life's better when you have friends to share it with.